My next guest, you know who he is. Unless you were living under a rock this past weekend, you should know who my next guest is. He is coming off a TKO victory over Alistair Overeem in his hometown of Chicago at UFC 225. It is Curtis Blaydes joining me here on the program yet again. Curtis, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well, but not as good as you, though. What a win that was, going in there in your hometown and getting a finish like that. I know we're a couple days removed from the fight. Are you still riding that high of what happened on Saturday night?
It still hasn't really hit me yet. It takes like a few weeks before like it really hits me. I beat Overeem.
No, not just beat him, but I mean you finished him too. Very 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 tall task. Overeem. His last couple fights he hadn't really been knocked out. I think this is the first time he's had two back-to-back knockouts, at least in the last couple years, anyways. But game plan heading into the fight. I think anyone looking at this fight on paper saw that if you got the takedown, chances are it was going to be a good night for you. Once you got that first takedown, which was fairly early in the fight, did the confidence level just go through the roof at that point?
Yeah. It wasn't just that I got it. It was how I got it. It wasn't very hard. Once I got my hands around the back of his kneecaps, it pretty much just collapsed and went down. So from then on, I knew he wouldn't be giving me that much resistance, and that definitely does give me a boost in my confidence. It lets me know that if it ever did get bad on the feet, I could always just look for a dump.
For sure. And the fight sort of, as it's going into the second and into the third, is sort of looking like the Mark Hunt a little bit, where, you're controlling the Mark Hunt fight, I should say, where you're sort of controlling him with the wrestling. Were you worried at all as the third round is coming around that you wouldn't get the finish? Because I know, you were trying to do stuff on top, but just didn't see an opening. And then all of a sudden you get to throw those elbows from hell down on Alistair Overeem.
Yeah, I was a little worried, but I knew I was gonna get the win. But yeah, I was worried I wouldn't be able to get a finish. I hadn't had one in a while, like a legitimate finish. Because my last two, Hunt was a decision. Olenek, that was like a weird,
Yeah, stoppage, yeah. And then Milstead hurt himself, right? So
yeah, then Milson hurt himself. So I haven't had a real finish since East, and that was almost 2 years ago.
yeah, no, that's for sure. Was there anything about Alistair that surprised you in this fight? I know you guys had scouted him pretty well, but it's always different when you're actually in the cage fighting.
Uh, I think the lack of leg kicks. I thought he would attack my legs a lot more. But we actually drilled a lot of takedowns off of him throwing leg kicks. So I was always just waiting for him to do it, but he never really did it. So that kind of caught me off guard, the lack of leg attacks.
And did the UFC say anything to you after the fight? I mean, I'm sure they were happy you got a finish, and like I said, the crowd was clearly behind you on that one.
I haven't heard anything directly from the UFC besides congratulations, good fight. The pretty standard.
And what about social media? Was that going off the charts once you had finished Alistair?
Yeah, my phone was literally just blowing up. It was like time bomb for like the whole night. The whole night. I still haven't answered every like DM from Snapchat to Facebook and Instagram. There's a lot. I'm just waiting on them.
And you were on the MMA Hour on Monday, which is the pinnacle of media. How cool was that? After all these years working hard, and now you're on the biggest show in the game.
That was dope. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting to go on Ariel Hawani's show, but yeah, that was an honor right there. To talk to him, to know that people respect what he says and respects the guys he brings on. To know that I'm on there now forever because it's on the internet, so that's always going to be there. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you're a veteran. I mean, we've done how many Skype interviews now? Like I'm sure you got on.
Yeah.
You look good too. It was a good interview. I really enjoyed it.
Well, no, I've had a lot of practice with these, so yeah, it definitely helps.
There you go. I prepped you for it, so there you go. I'll take all the credit for that one. But how did you celebrate after the fight? As far as after it was over, I know you had a couple bumps and bruises, but did you get to go out and enjoy yourself?
Yeah, we had an after party at one of the local bars out here in Chicago. I used to work at Trophy Room. We went there, popped a couple bottles. I wasn't out for that late though, because like you said, I was a little banged up, so couldn't really enjoy it the way I wanted to. So I kind of went home at like I don't know, like a little after 2 a.m.
Oh well, that's still pretty good. You got a lot of time in. I know you would have liked to stay up till like 6 a.m. Really
Yeah,
enjoy it, right? But
that was the goal, but I couldn't make it.
for
I couldn't
sure.
hang.
So you referenced it there. Some bumps and bruises. Your manager Rick last night went on social media and just basically put it out there that you have a couple injuries. What is the status with you right now as far as your injuries and when we could potentially see you back in the cage?
Well, I don't know if you remember at the end of the first round, Overeem had in that heel hook.
Right, I did. Yep.
That's when it happened. He kind of torqued my knee a little bit, and it popped a little bit. But I've always had issues with my knees, so I was able just to push through it. But after the fight, as the night went on, my knee started to swell up a little bit. I think it's my meniscus. I can like feel it. I'm going to the doctor. I'll get back to Denver on Monday. I'll get the official diagnosis, but I think it's my meniscus. I think I'm gonna take off like 2 to 3 weeks. Just let it rest up and heal up. I don't think I should be back in the octagon until after Halloween.
So you don't know how long you're going to be out with the injury. You have to go see the doctor type thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can do a guesstimation.
Mm-hmm.
I know my body. I won't be back at like full full power till like probably the end of July.
Okay. So that's good then. So then, depending on what happens with the UFC schedule, you might be able to fight in fall, but you got to just sort of see what the doctor says, right?
Yeah,
And it sounds like from what Rick was saying on Twitter yesterday, you're going to be at UFC 226. You're going to be watching the heavyweight title fight.
yeah. I'm pretty stoked about that. It's gonna be a great card. I'm really excited about the main event, but just to be able to go out there and be a fan and just watch it, not have the stress of like, oh, I'm next. That'll be fun.
Have you gotten any indication if you're going to get the winner of that fight? I know there was some stuff floating around about you and Volkov, but I mean, you finished Alistair Overeem in your hometown, and you got the win over Mark Hunt before that. To me, I think that earns yourself a title shot.
Well, thank you. I agree, but you gotta be ready for anything with UFC. So we could easily end up doing a number one contender fight, me and Volkov, but I think I'm ready. I would prefer to go for a title. I think I'm ready for it. I don't think I should have to do it.
No, I agree there, and I just I made that comment there. I think you do deserve the title shot. But let's say you did have to fight Volkov. Just looking at that fight just on paper, how do you feel like you'd match up against him in that fight?
I feel like it's pretty much a rerun of my past two fights. He's just a little taller. He's a striker, throws good knees. He's pretty proficient, ortho and from southpaw. But my strike is improving every fight, so I think I can hang with him on the feet, and I don't believe he can hang with me on the ground. So I think I win that fight too.
Last question before I let you go here, and the most important one: what was the first cheat meal you had after the fight? Because I know you're heavyweight, but you still got to kind of watch your diet a little bit. What would you get to eat?
We went to a local spot, Harold's fried chicken. It's the best chicken in all of Chicago. I held off all week on eating that because like you said, I don't have to cut weight, but I held off on it because I really wanted to just enjoy it. So after the fight, I was able to get an 8-piece, 8 wings, a lot of mild sauce, and I was just in heaven.
Man, I'm getting hungry just thinking about that. I got to hit that up next time I'm in Chicago.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, Curtis, congratulations on the win. Again, what a win that was. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media. And if you have any sponsors or thank yous or anything like that, the floor is yours.
Well, as always, you guys can get me. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Blaydes 265. And I like to give a shout out to my striking coach, Vinny Lopez, my jiu-jitsu coach, Cody Donovan, all the guys down at Team Elevation, my manager for putting me in these positions, my manager, Richard Guerrero, and my sponsors, Receptor MMA. I use their drops and their topicals, and I'm actually using this one right now. This is CBD Derm. This stuff is pretty good. I've been using it on my knee all weekend. It's been helping a lot. And on my beef sponsor, Lowers Lean, it pretty much provided my whole diet, my whole camp. Just lots of burgers, lots of pasta with their beef.